Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of All the Way with TJ. Today what we're going to talk about is the Vox Adpocalypse and how far it stretches and how far they're really willing to go with this thing, where YouTube is suddenly okay with demonetizing large swaths of YouTubers and taking them off of the partner program. It's a very odd thing to me to see who they're attacking and why they're attacking them. So sit back and buckle up and let's get to this thing. Okay, so full disclosure on this. I did not watch the Vox video about how Fox controls the media, nor did I really watch the one where Crowder rebuts what they're saying, because I'm used to that. It's just something Crowder does. Part of his content, a very small part of it, is really him debunking or rebutting these videos and giving evidential proof that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to that. And also, the other reason I didn't really pay attention to it is he pokes fun at Carlos Maza, and Maza's done the same towards him when he came out and told Crowder that he didn't sound queer enough in one of his videos where he was doing an impression of Carlos Maza. I didn't really think that was a big deal. It was a good back and forth between the two of them, and neither one of them ever seemed to get the upper hand over the other one, which is fine. Like, that's exactly how it should be with these rebuttals. But what I really started tracking was Carlos Maza said something on Twitter directly to YouTube about how they weren't representing queer creators because Crowder called them a lispy little queer. And I thought, okay, well, we'll see where this goes. And YouTube would usually tell Crowder through an email like, hey, this content, we've reviewed it, it's unacceptable, we're demonetizing this video because you did X. But they didn't do that this time. They went straight to Carlos Maza on Twitter and said, we're reviewing this, we'll let you know. Well, then they respond to their own tweet, they're threading it here and saying they didn't find anything wrong with the content and they're not going to take any action. And this is where it starts to get a little bit more interesting, because instead of going through the proper channels to talk to Crowder first and tell him about his content, they immediately respond on Twitter to Carlos Maza. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. Why are they doing this publicly on Twitter instead of going to Crowder first like they should? But then again, I tried to think nothing of it. I'm like, okay, YouTube obviously has a reason for doing this. And then it gets even more strange. The pushback that happens from Carlos Maza's mafia, and yes, that's what I'm going to describe them as, his Twitter mafia, is so severe that YouTube goes back after Crowder and says, okay, you know what, after further review, we're going to go ahead and remove you from the partner program and demonetize all of your videos. Now keep in mind, Crowder has Mug Club, and he makes almost all of his money off of that. So is it really going to hurt him in the long run to have his channel completely demonetized? No, because he just doesn't have to publish anything on YouTube if he chooses not to. Now he knows that if he puts his content on there, it's completely free and he's not going to make any money off of it. But it didn't stop there. Like, YouTube took it to the next step. They created new terms of service and then began removing other channels from their partner program. News channels, of all things. I mean, just people discussing news topics. And I thought, okay, now this is getting really bad. Like, this is just what people have called the adpocalypse, and I agree. They're not going to remove these creators' channels, and there's a reason behind that. Just demonetizing them means that they get to make no money on the YouTube platform. But YouTube definitely keeps the ads on there, and they're definitely making money off of these videos. It's not because the advertisers want to pull their ad spots from the videos, because they clearly don't. It's more about YouTube saying, you're not going to make money off these ads anymore because we don't like what you're saying or doing. But why wouldn't they like news channels, of all things? People just talking about the news. And that struck me as odd. Like, okay, I get it if you're going to go after Crowder and you're going to demonetize him. Fair enough, you might think. I don't think so, but if I was in a left-leaning place like Google, I could see that. But to go after channels that just talk about the news, and that makes me worried for people like Tim Pool, because that's the bulk of what he does. And if you can go after those people and start taking them down, you might question why. Why them? Well, I think I have an interesting answer to that. There's a New York Times article, and maybe I can get a screenshot of it posted in this video, where they're saying Google has made $4.7 billion from these news outlets, and they haven't given any of the money back to the news outlets. So essentially, these channels that report on the news and what the news is talking about, they make money for YouTube. And essentially they make money from YouTube also. But none of the money gets back to the news agencies who first broke the story. So here you have commentators talking about news stories that are making money, and it's making YouTube money. And all of a sudden, now you start to put the pieces together. It's just about money. That's all it's been about from the beginning. Why would Carlos Maza now, right now, attack Crowder's monetary source? Well, it makes sense. They're losing money hand over fist. NBC Universal has invested $200 million in Vox Media. We're seeing Vice News fall. Vice News tonight, actually all of Vice News, is no longer on HBO, which is interesting to say the least, because they're losing money. Well, now Vox is afraid of the same thing. Why? NBC is a big company, right? Well, NBC is being sued by Nick Sandman, the main kid that was caught up in the Covington controversy. And he's suing for a substantial amount. And they're going, whoa, 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 we need some of our money back here. So how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to go at YouTube. Well, why? Because YouTube starts making money off of these news channels, these outlets. And they're not getting any money back. Places like NBC and so forth, they're not getting any of their money back. They got woke and got broke. And now they're starting to see like, hey, wait a minute here. This could be the end of something. But it's a little bit deeper than that, though, because they got screwed. Places like Vox and Vice, what they did was they set up a scheme to make it look like they were worth more money than what they were. And you say, well, how would you do that? Well, here's how. If you've ever been on Facebook and you see one of your friends post something like top 20 celebrities, what they looked like in 1980 and what they look like now. And you go, okay, I'm going to click on that and see what happens. So you click on it. And every single time they show you a celebrity and they talk about what they looked like in 1980 versus what they look like now. But every single time you get to the bottom of that, you have to click next and go to the next page. When you go to the next page, that creates a unique new click because it takes you to a separate page. So there's companies that exist that just put out that kind of content, and what they do is they bundle all those clicks together, because say it's 20. Well, now you've clicked through 20 different pages. Well, guess what? That's 20 unique views on one thing. But they don't have to claim it's one thing because it's 20 unique views now. So what they do is they bundle all that together, and then they sell it to places like Vox and Vice. Then they take those numbers and they say, look how many clicks, and they don't have to report to their investors that they purchased these clicks from another source. They can put it off as their own, and they say, look how many clicks our site gets. And so these places like NBC, who purchased part of Vox, and Disney, I believe, purchased part of Vice, if I'm correct, they look at this and they go, wow, look at all these unique clicks. And then they go over to Vox.com and they look at the pieces. And they go, well, this must be what people want. So they invest a lot of money into it. Well, then what happens when places like Vox and Vice start hemorrhaging money because Generation Z is more conservative, and because just general trust in sites like that are going down because it's all nothing but just social justice warrior bullshit. And when they start hemorrhaging money, and now coupled with this lawsuit that Nick Sandman has put against NBC Universal, then you have to question, if you're NBC, how am I going to keep making money? What happened here? Why is this company now valued less than what it was before? And it all becomes very clear very quickly that that's all it is. It's just about the money. They don't like losing money on this. And don't get me wrong, I think Vox believes what they put out there. They really do. These journalists, air quotes, believe in the nonsense that they're putting forward. But now all of a sudden they're mad because they're not getting paid for it. And you see the Vox union strike, people walking out of Vox's newsroom. Now Vox is starting to get worried. They're losing money. Well, who can they target? Well, they're considered now part of the old guard because NBC put money into them. And NBC wants to see a return on their investment, and they're not seeing it. So now they start attacking the new media. And this is exactly what this is. The old guard is dying off. They thought, well, we can invest in this new medium and not have to do anything different. We just put money forward, and when they start making money, we get returns on the money. Well, the money was never there to begin with. Vox and Vice are going to go belly up. And when they do, what they're going to leave in their wake is a lot of independent YouTube creators that have now been off the platform. And YouTube's going to hurt too, because these people are going to stop putting their videos up on YouTube. They're going to go to other places like BitChute and any other video platform that they can find to put their stuff out there. They're going to do it. They rode the YouTube wave. YouTube told them, like, hey, you're a preferred partner here. You're a good content creator. We're going to share some of this money with you. Well, now they're backing out of that deal. And when that happens, and content creators are no longer uploading to YouTube, when they're going to the subscriber model, YouTube's going to lose. They're going to lose ad revenue. And they're going to sit back and look and say, what have we done? And at the end of the day, that's what they're going to wind up with. YouTube is going to wind up hemorrhaging money because they can't keep content creators. Well, that's all I have for today's show. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at thought_journey. And if you like this content, just comment down below. If you didn't like it, if you thought that there was something I left out, just let me know that too. That'll help for the next episode. Thanks, guys, and see you later.